What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ben on Sports. And as you probably know at this point, it is another NFL Weekly Preview, Weekly Prediction episode on the road to 200. Let's go ahead and just jump right into last week, starting with the three Thanksgiving games. Detroit and Green Bay. Green Bay picks up a huge win. Detroit's playoff odds are getting gloomier and gloomier if you're from Detroit. Green Bay picking up a big win. Green Bay still has a very real chance at winning this division. Detroit, their path not just to the division but to the playoffs got much more complicated when they couldn't complete the comeback on Thanksgiving against the Packers. Who did I pick? I did pick the Lions at a loss to my total. Cowboys and Chiefs, another exciting game between two teams that have playoff aspirations. Both are currently on the outside looking in, and the Cowboys were just able to score too much for the Chiefs to keep up. Just as I predicted, I got this game right. Bengals and Ravens, I think this is one of the more surprising results. The Ravens had, 5 turnovers? Bengals had none, and because of that, it kept setting the Bengals up. It took a lot of points away from the Ravens. Ravens are moving the ball. You just can't turn it over 5 times. Bengals with a large win in Baltimore on Thursday Night Football. Who did I pick? I did have the Ravens winning, adding another loss. Bad start to the week on Thanksgiving. Does it get any better on Friday with the Eagles missing an extra point, and then that puts them down too much, and then they lose 24-15. Another team that turnovers probably lost them a game. The Bears keep on figuring out ways to win. And all of a sudden, they are the 1 seed. Who did I have winning this game? I did have the Eagles, so not a good Black Friday either. Moving into the Sunday slate, Miami should have blown this Saints team out, had all the opportunity in the world, let them hang around until it was way too late, but they still found a way to walk away with a win, 21-17. And this score seems like it's normal, but it really isn't if you watch that game and know what happened. Regardless, Miami picking up the 21-17 victory over the Saints, just as I predicted. Browns and 49ers. Crazy weather day. Browns defense couldn't quite hold long enough. The 49ers offense made it difficult on the Browns all day. 49ers pick up a 26-8 victory, just like I said they would. Titans and Jaguars, not a lot to say here. One's a good team, one's a bad team. 25-3 Jacksonville win, just as I thought Jacksonville would do. Winning a couple more games in a row now. The Colts couldn't quite complete a comeback. This was a good game, an interesting game. Coupled with Jacksonville's win, this actually takes the Colts out of first place in the division and moves them into the wild card. It puts the Texans in a position where they can still win the division and puts them in better situation for the wild card. Texans holding on to beat the Colts on the road. Colts have a rough schedule the rest of the way. If I was a Colts fan, I'd start getting worried. Who did I have winning this game? I did think the Colts were going to win, so I got this one wrong. The Jets and the Falcons. Falcons led the whole way, and they couldn't win it at the end for, it feels like 2 or 3 weeks in a row now. The Falcons just can't get out of their own way. Should have won this game. The Jets kick the game-winning field goal, and I get this one wrong as I had the Falcons. Panthers, Rams, and the Panthers, every time you think they're out, every time you think they aren't good, they go and beat a good team. I said this Panthers team was going to be 7 to 8 wins, not good enough to make the playoffs, but will finish right outside. Well, they just picked up win number 7 with 5 weeks left. The Rams with 3 turnovers, and they go from the first seed to the second seed. Big loss to the Rams in the game. They feel like they probably should have won, just too many turnovers in the end, which hasn't happened for them a lot this season. Who did I have winning this game? I did have the Rams. The Cardinals and the Bucks. Baker Mayfield did play, which was my one qualifier. I said if Baker played, the Bucks were going to win, and that is what happened. The Bucks with a 20-17 victory, and I got it right as Baker did play. Seahawks and Vikings, 2 teams going in opposite directions. Vikings quarterback situation is horrific. Seattle, we know what Seattle's capable of when they're firing on all cylinders. Seattle picking up a big win to keep pace in the NFC and the NFC West, just as I thought they would. The Chargers and the Raiders, not a lot to say here. One good team, one bad team. I'm still very worried about the Chargers' offensive line situation, but the Raiders were not a good enough team to take advantage, and their offense is not that good. Chargers with a big win, just as I thought they would. Steelers and Bills. The Steelers, I don't think, are that good. The Bills' defense played better this week. The Bills' offense took advantage of the Steelers' defense that is not the normal Steelers' defense. Bills pick up a big win, especially when you look at the playoff standings on the road, just as I thought they would. Commanders and Broncos. Commanders lose another game in overtime. They're so close, even without their starting quarterback, to winning so many games, and they just can't quite pull them out in the end. The Broncos love to live dangerously, win a lot of games close against teams they should probably be blowing out. May not be a winning strategy against good teams, but they've beaten good teams too in the same fashion. So who knows? Broncos narrowly, I would even say, escaping against the Commanders in overtime by 1 point. Just as I thought they would. Maybe not win in that fashion, but I thought they'd win. And then Monday Night Football, the Patriots kind of shellacked the Giants. A lot going on there. Patriots still the 1 seed in the AFC. Going into the final round of bye weeks this week, Giants looking at potentially getting a number 1 pick. Who did I think was going to win this game? I did think the Patriots, because why wouldn't you? And if you kept track, that means I had a record of 9-6. That's not right. There was 16 games this week, guys. Let's go back and count, shall we? Sorry, I'm going back in my graphic. Let's go back and count here. Let's count the wins. 1 win. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, guys, I'm 10-6, not 9-6. So my percentage is a tad bit higher. I did win double digits, but guys, as you can see, I'm already at 66 losses and a tie, which means if I can only lose 1 game and there's 5 weeks left. So the season goal of 75% is already finished, unfortunately. Hopefully I can beat or match last season. That's the goal at this point. I'm not going to beat the season goal. I suck this year. This has been a crazy year in the NFL. I thought after last year and ending on a hot streak last year, I was going to be able to finish even better. Has not been the case. So right now my goal is to just try and match last season, which 70% is still pretty good. And as you can see, we've been hovering around the mid-60s all year. So I have a lot of catching up to do if I want to get there. I still think that's possible. I'm still going to need to finish strong, but that is a very real thing that can happen. 10-6, not my. I can do better. It's not awful, but it's not good either. Again, I had a lofty goal this year. We're going to fall short of it. Can I at least match last season, which was, again, 70% is still pretty good. Let me know in the comments if you guys think I can catch back up to what I did last year, since I'm probably not going to go perfect the rest of the way like I'm going to need to hit our season goal. I'm going to try, obviously, just unlikely. AFC playoff picture. You can see I'm doing playoff pictures. It's that time of year. Patriots still the 1 seed with a win. The Broncos can draw even with them this week. Jaguars are a 3 seed, just as everybody thought coming into the year. And Ravens winning the AFC North currently with a record of 6-6. Chargers, Colts, and Bills are the 3 wildcard teams, and they are all 8-4 in a crowded playoff picture. You have the Texans continuing their march. Texans at 7-5. 1 game back of the playoffs. They still have another game against the Colts left as well. That could put them in. They have the tiebreaker over the Bills. They can get the tiebreaker over the Colts. So the Texans are still very much alive. Really control their own destiny if they win out. The Steelers still trying to compete with the Ravens. Ravens and Steelers still have 2 games against each other. You got to think that's going to go a long way into determining who wins that division. Both of them would be 2 games out of the wild card if they're not leading their division. Chiefs falling to 6-6, and they have a tough matchup this week. Can the Chiefs win a game to get back in this wild card hunt. It's not looking good for the Chiefs' playoff hopes this year. They're going to have to finish, in my mind, with probably 11 wins to have a chance. 10 wins might get them in with tiebreakers, but you want to get to 11 wins, which means for them winning out, and they still have some tough matchups. The Chiefs may miss the playoffs this year. I still have the Dolphins in. They're still technically in. 3 games back of wild card. They're going to need a lot of help. Now teams like the Colts and the Bills, and I would even argue the Chargers. Like, some of these teams have difficult schedules the rest of the way. The Texans could still lose some moves, but they're going to have to pass a lot of teams. They're going to have to win out, which their schedule isn't the easiest the rest of the way either. So Miami is getting close. I think if Miami loses one more game, they will be off the graphic. And Cincinnati, technically they're alive for a wild card berth, but they're 4 games back with 5 left. I don't think a wild card is realistic for them, but they are still on here because they can win their division, especially after that win against the Ravens. I think if they lost to the Ravens last week, they'd be off the graphic, but they didn't lose to the Ravens, and I still think they're alive for their division. Don't think they're really so there's a real chance at them getting the wild card, however. But that is my playoff picture in the AFC. In the NFC, the Bears are 9-3, 1 seed, and the Rams, they have the tiebreaker over the Rams, who are also 9-3. I don't know why my graphics package is glitching, so I apologize. The Eagles are the 3 seed at 8-4, but the Cowboys are starting to catch back up with them in the division race. The Bucks are 7-5. Thank goodness they're in the division they're in. They've had so many injuries, but they are still okay in their division standings. Seahawks at 9-3, a 9-3 record, tied for the best record in the conference, and you're the 5 seed. Packers 8-3-1. That Packers-Bears game, the winner of that game will move to first place in the division. And this late in the season, that is very important. That is such an important game. It might be the game of the week this week. And then the 49ers on a bye week at 9-4 are the 7 seed. The Lions on the outside looking in at 7-5. They have a tough game this week as well. Cowboys 6-5-1. Cowboys and Lions play this week on Thursday Night Football. The winner of that game moves up a spot, or the Lions would stay there. But the Lions can move up to only a game back of the 49ers. The Cowboys can move closer as well. The Panthers on a bye week this week are 7-6. Can the Panthers make the playoffs if they get some help? Potentially, they could still win their division if the Bucs continue to struggle. And then the Falcons and Vikings, while they're not technically eliminated, so I have them on the graphic, but unless the Bucs lose this week and the Bucs get to 7-6 and the Falcons win, then it's like, okay, they're 2 games back of the division. They still have some games left. Maybe the Falcons can. But really, I think the Falcons have a better chance at winning their division than they do at a wild card. And the Vikings, I think, probably aren't making the playoffs. This is really just a courtesy graphic for them. So I had 12 teams on each side. I kind of like that symmetry. And also, they're not mathematically eliminated, but the Vikings, with a loss this week, will be falling off of the graphic. All right, with all that being said, you have the playoff picture, you have my records, you have the updated everything. Let's get into picking the Week 14 games, the last round of bye weeks in the NFL. Thursday Night Football, I already told you, Ford Field in Detroit. Top 5 game of the week. Detroit is 3-point favorites at home, and they're expecting a lot of points in this one, and I think I agree with that sentiment. If you are Detroit, your pass defense needs to have a good day. This Dallas passing offense is so good and has torn up a lot of teams, and I'm worried about Detroit's pass defense based off of the performances the last couple of weeks. Detroit's pass defense needs a good week this week, or Dallas is going to be able to score all day. Who can step up for Amon-Ra St. Brown? Such an important part of their offense, their number 1 wide receiver. They have Jameson Williams, but Jameson Williams can't do everything. Sam Laporte is out. Who's going to step up in the passing game, especially in Amon-Ra St. Brown's replacement for the Lions? If they can answer that and answer it well, that could be a big help for Detroit, who's probably going to need to score a lot of points this week. And they have to run the ball well. With your pass game having multiple important contributors out, you need to be able to pass or run the ball, so the pressure's not all on your pass game. Can Detroit run the ball well against this Dallas defense and even kind of dominate time possession, keep Dallas's offense off the field. If you're Dallas, you need to stress Detroit's secondary. It struggled the last couple of games. You have a good bunch of weapons with a quarterback who's finding them. Can Dallas stress Detroit's secondary and really get the passing game going? I think they can. Dallas, is the defense actually getting better? They made at least one big trade. They made 2 trades total. Is it actually better? I'm still determining. I can't quite tell. They've played well against bad teams, and against good teams, they've given up some points. This will be a pretty big test. Can they hold Detroit down or keep Detroit from scoring a whole bunch of points? Is this defense actually getting better? And if it is, I think they have a great chance at winning this game. And they can't turn the ball over. Don't beat yourself. Don't give Detroit momentum and good field position by turning it over. Hold on to the ball. I actually think, guys, coming into the year, Detroit was a really good team, and I think just a combination of injuries and all kinds of things, it hasn't gone Detroit's way, and I think Dallas picks up the win this week. I'm picking an upset on Thursday Night Football. Give me Dallas. Into the 1 o'clock slate, the Falcons hosting the Seahawks. Seahawks coming for another East Coast game. Seattle is 7-point favorites, however, in Atlanta. Let's get into it. If you are Atlanta, how can you move the ball offensively? Atlanta, in my mind, wants to be a run-first team. Seattle has a good run defense. Can they move the ball that way? I don't know. They need to take away Jackson Smith and Jigba on defense. Most of the year, this Falcons pass defense has been good. They're going to have to be better than good because Seattle can really throw the ball and really get the pass game moving. Can they take away Jackson Smith and Jigba? I think they're going to have to, and make anybody else beat this Atlanta defense. And then no turnovers, no penalties. You can't beat yourself. If you're a not great team playing a good team, you can't help that team by giving them turnovers and penalties. You have to play clean this week to have a chance for Atlanta. And if you are Seattle, win strength versus strength offensively. I talked about it. Atlanta's pass defense has been a strength most of the year. Seattle's pass offense is really good. Win that strength versus strength battle. Also, if you're Seattle, take away the Falcons' run game. Atlanta does have some injuries, but that are contributing. But for the most part, they haven't been that great of a passing offense. I know your passing offense is a little bit, or that Seattle's passing defense isn't the best, but I still think that it can take away Atlanta's passing offense. So don't let the Falcons run. Don't let Bijan Robinson keep the Falcons in this game. And part of that is make other weapons beat you. If London can ever get back to playing, don't let London beat you. Don't let Bijan beat you. Does Kyle Pitts still count as weapon? Don't let him beat you. Make their secondary and tertiary playmakers be the guys that have to beat you this game. I think the Falcons will be, or the Seahawks will be able to do that, and I think the Seahawks win this game on the road. Moving on, another 1 o'clock game between two playoff hopeful teams, the Bills and the Bengals. Pretty good quarterback matchup. The Bills are 5.5-point favorites and a high total here, meaning a lot of points are. The Vegas is betting on a lot of points being scored, and I think I am too. If you are the Bills, Allen should have a good day. This Bengals defense until last week hasn't looked very good. Josh Allen has been inconsistent. Maybe he can start finding some consistency this week. Josh Allen needs to have a big day. It's going to be imperative for Buffalo for this pass rush to find success. The first half of the season, this pass rush was pretty darn good, generating a very high amount of pressure, getting sacks. Hasn't quite been the same pass rush through the last couple weeks of the season, and I think it's hurt their defense. This is not a great Bengals offensive line. Can the Bills pass rush find success again? And then which receiver are the Bills taking away? This Bills pass defense has been much better than their rush defense, but the Bengals are going to want to pass the ball. Who do the Bills want to take away in this game? Probably should start with Ja'Marr Chase, obviously. And then if you're the Bengals, you need to score a lot of points because I think this Buffalo team is going to be able to score a lot, especially at home. They've looked like a much different team in Buffalo this year. And if you are Cincinnati, your defense just needs to be good enough, right? Hold them to below 30. Just be good enough where your offense can score on Buffalo's defense just enough to win. My other question is, can the defense continue to force turnovers? That's the reason why they beat the Ravens last week. This defense doesn't have to all of a sudden hold teams to less than 300 yards and be stand up if they can force turnovers. Because if you can force turnovers, it takes a little bit of pressure off your defense. Which I know forcing turnovers is a defensive thing, but you don't have to be as stout if you're forcing turnovers. So maybe the Bengals need to play a little bit more risky and force some turnovers, and that can be a way for them to win this week. I think this is a tight game. I think it's a fun game. I think a lot of points are scored, but I think Buffalo at home. Give me Buffalo at home. I think the Bengals defense just had the game of their life last week. I don't think that's a sign of things to come, and because of that, I think Buffalo finds a way to get just enough stops, more than the Bengals do, to win this game. My toilet bowl game of the week, the Browns and the Titans at 1 o'clock in Cleveland. Cleveland is 4.5-point favorites. The total in this game is one of the lowest, maybe the lowest I've seen all season, at 33.5. That is not a lot of points projected to be scored, and I see why. If you are the Browns, your defense needs to feast. This is not a good Titans offense. Good defenses have been able to shut them down all year. You should be able to make it a very long day for the Tennessee's offense if you're Cleveland's defense. You need to use the run and the play action game. This Tennessee defense hasn't been great most of the year. Shedeur Sanders has, played 2 games as a starter now. Some good, some bad. Not anything spectacular in my mind. I think they need to run the ball first and use the run game to set up the play action game this week. I think that having a good run game always helps young quarterbacks, and I think this game it would be incredibly helpful. You don't want to have to drop back with Shedeur Sanders and throw a whole bunch, at least not at this current juncture. And then welcome Cam Ward to the NFL. Kind of what I was talking about, defense needs to feast. Turnovers, you need to be forcing interceptions in the quarterback's face, shutting down the run game. Welcome Cam Ward to the NFL and show him one of the NFL's best defenses. And if you're at Tennessee, keep Cam Ward clean. Don't let him get hit. Keep a clean pocket for him the best you can, because this Cleveland defense will definitely be getting it to the quarterback. What can they do successfully against an elite defense? Tennessee hasn't done a lot right on offense, if anything. What can they find, or what can they do to find success against an elite defense with a rookie quarterback? That's going to have a big determination on if they can win this game or not. And then which rookie are you scared of more? And whichever rookie running back, rookie quarterback, the Titans are scared of more, that needs to be the one that they aim to take away. Who do I think wins this game? I think Cleveland wins this game on the strength of their defense. US Bank Stadium, Minneapolis, where the Vikings are hosting the Commanders as 2.5-point favorites. If you're the Vikings, is J.J. McCarthy playing or not? That's a big thing. They've had rough quarterback play most of the year, and that's probably because it has been a quarterback carousel for the Vikings. No quarterback can get a rhythm. They have the weapons in the receiving game to be good, but none of the weapons in the receiving game have had a quarterback play for a consecutive games. Is JJ playing? Because that's probably the best chance you have at developing chemistry. They need to finally find a way to limit turnovers. There's been turnovers galore for the Vikings the last couple of weeks. They can't have those issues this week and expect to win. Can the Vikings finally find a way to limit turnovers? And they need to make the Commanders one-dimensional. This Minnesota pass defense is still pretty good. I think Washington would rather run the ball. I think Minnesota's rush defense is worse than their pass defense. So really when I'm saying make them one-dimensional, can the Vikings take away the Commanders' run game and make them throw it into a good pass defense, kind of one-dimensional? And if you're the Commanders, your defense should have a good day. This is a struggling Vikings team. Washington has fought hard and played a lot of teams close. Can this defense have a good day against a struggling offense? And can they run the ball well? I was just talking about this. They want to run the ball. If Minnesota's defense has been worse against the run than it has against the pass, so that's the preferred way for teams to move the ball against them. Run the ball well against this good pass defense, especially with the backup quarterback, and they could be on their way to victory. And they need to create their own luck. I feel like the Commanders have had some bad luck this season outside of injuries. It's, oh, this is a bad bounce there. or if you can count missing a field goal, bad luck. They just had a lot of weird things happen and a lot of close losses. They need to create their own luck instead of expecting the game to come to them. And I think they do it this week, regardless of who starts. This Commanders team has both of these teams are on long losing streaks and are trying to fight to get out of them. But I think the Commanders have just been playing better consistently, even with the backup quarterback the last couple of weeks. And because of that, I like DC to go in to Minnesota and beat the Vikings this week. MetLife Stadium, the Jets are hosting the Dolphins, where the Dolphins are 2.5-point favorites. It's going to be a cold weather game as well. So if you're Miami, believe that Miami can't play in cold weather, you should be all over the Jets. It's not going to be a great weather day for Miami this week in a cold New York climate. And if you're the Jets, take away the run game. Miami has been one of the best rushing teams in the NFL the last month and a half. Don't let them get the run game going again. Make them throw the ball with Tua, which historically hasn't always been the case, but it definitely is this year. And then offensively, the Jets need to stay balanced. The Miami's defense is playing better. I still don't think it's great, but it's playing better. The Jets have struggled offensively at times this year. They need to stay balanced, be able to get the pass game going. Don't let just Miami sit and take away the run game, and then you can't move it through the air. And then also, if you're the Jets, play mistake-free. Limit penalties, which have killed the Jets in so many games this year. Limit turnovers, play mistake-free, and I think the Jets have a very real chance of winning this game. And if you're Miami, continue to run the ball well. That's how they're on this hot streak. That's how they're winning games. Yeah, part of it's also probably competition, but they finally have the run game going well. They need to take away the Jets' run game. The Jets have struggled to pass the ball most of this season. Can they take away the run game? Something Miami has gotten much better at this year. And Tua needs to fix himself. This is not the Tua that was led the league in passing. Tua has not looked good in most games this year. He doesn't look healthy. Something's wrong with him. Tua hasn't looked good. He sucked. Miami put a lot of resources into hoping Tua could continue that level of play that he once had, and he has not. Can Tua fix it for this stretch run to give Miami whatever slim chances they have at making the playoffs? Can Tua start playing well to help get them to that point? I don't know, but this could potentially be a game you thought it would have been last game. Maybe this is finally the game where he gets it going. But if he can't fix it in the next 2 or 3 weeks, then I think that is your signal. I think Miami is the better team, and Miami should win this game. I really, really, really am worried about Miami playing in the cold weather. I'm really, really worried about the Jets wanting to end Miami's season, because a loss here probably ends Miami's season. Potentially Mike McDaniel's coaching, being the head coach in Miami. But I really, really, really think the Jets have all the reason in the world to show up and win this game. And I think in a lot of ways they will. But I just think Miami's the better team, and they're more desperate than the Jets are. And because they're more desperate, I think they find a way to win this game. Give me Miami in an ugly, close game in the cold weather. 1:00, Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Tampa is 8.5-point favorites over division rival, the New Orleans Saints. If you're Tampa, keep Baker Mayfield healthy. I mean, injuries have been one of the stories of the season for Tampa. Baker, is still banged up, but I think he's going to play. You can't let him get hit a whole bunch where he has a chance to get hurt worse or re-aggravate it. You got to keep him healthy in this one. Get the passing attack back. They had such a good passing attack at the beginning of the season that was carrying the team. They need to find it and get that back here in this one. They have an opportunity to, against not a great defense, not an awful defense, but an average to slightly below average defense, in my opinion. Can they get that passing attack working again? And this is a get-right game for the defense. Tampa Bay's defense has struggled as of late, in my mind. They had a better game last week. Can they continue to get right against a bad offense this week? If you're the Saints, continue to pressure the quarterback. What was it, 4 sacks or something like that last week against Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins? The Saints need to continue to pressure the quarterback and get Baker Mayfield on his back, somebody that's already dealing with some who's already banged up, dealing with some bruises and things of that nature. And if you're the Saints, defense, make the Bucs one-dimensional. Don't let them, Bucky Irving is back. They're getting healthy. They're getting their receivers back. They're getting their weapons back. Make the Bucs one-dimensional. I don't know. They can run the ball well, and they can pass the ball well. But I think you would rather take away the pass with how dynamic it's looked with Baker Mayfield back there throwing to his large complement of receivers that are all of a sudden getting healthy. So I think if you're the Saints, you'd rather take away the pass game and make them run the ball. Just make them one-dimensional. Don't make them this super dynamic offense that they can be at times. And then run the ball well. They weren't able to run it very well last week. Normally, Tampa has a good run defense, but the Saints have to find the way to run the ball. If they can't run the ball consistently, I don't think that they can be a very good offense. They also need to run the ball well to keep Tampa Bay off the field, or their offense off the field. So can New Orleans run the ball well? That's a big point for me. New Orleans plays just about everybody. They play close. They play hard. I think their defense needs a little bit more credit than it sometimes gets. This New Orleans team, again, they have an upset victory this year. They've almost had quite a few others. They're playing everybody close, including a lot of teams in the playoffs. I think Tampa needs to be careful with this one because not only are the Saints playing teams close, they're playing better as of late. Tampa needs to be very careful, but I do still think they pick up the win. Another 1 o'clock game. We got a lot of them this week. Jacksonville hosting Indianapolis. The gauntlet doesn't stop for the Colts. Top 5 game of the week, where Jacksonville is a 1.5 point home favorite against the Colts. If you are Jacksonville, run the ball first. They have such a good run offense. I think you can run it a little bit on this Colts defense, but run the ball first. Make them commit to stopping it before you get the passing game in motion. Continue to force turnovers. Jacksonville's been good at forcing turnovers. They need to continue to force them this week because I think if you get this Colts team behind by enough, I don't think they're going to be able to just drop back and throw the ball every single play and come back. And this defensive line needs to take away the Colts' run game. The Colts have started to struggle, and I think it's large part because they're playing some good run defenses and teams that are taking away the run. I think when the Colts play a good run defense, a good front seven, and they can't run the ball, it makes life much more difficult on their offense. Yes, they have weapons in the pass game. I just don't think it's the same team when Jonathan Taylor isn't the face of the attack. Key number one really is to take away the Colts' run game, and Jacksonville has done a good job of taking away the run. Their weakness and on the defensive side of the ball has been that they can't take away the pass. So Jacksonville needs to take away that run game. And if you're Indianapolis, get that run game back. The run game's been kind of struggling as of late. This is a good run defense, but this Colts offensive line is supposed to be good too. Can the Colts impose themselves against a good defensive line and prove they can run the ball against a good run defense this week? Also, if you're the Colts, take away the Jaguars' run game. I think this game's going to be won and lost with the run games. Both of these offenses like to run the ball, and they're pretty good at it. Which defense can do a better job at taking away the other team's run game? And they need to force mistakes from Jacksonville. There's been times this season where Jacksonville loves to make mistakes, both in penalties and turnovers. I think getting some of that can give the Colts some momentum. Can they force the Jaguars into mistakes this week? I think this is going to be a knockdown, drag-out, close divisional battle. If the Colts win, they take first place in the division. If the Jaguars win, they take first place in the division. And then whoever loses is in danger of falling out of the wild card. So this game is incredibly important. Two teams that I think have some very similar makeup. I'll give a slight edge to the Jaguars. I think this is going to be an electric game. I think it's going to be a close game. Great game to watch. Give me the Jaguars to win a nail-biter. Another 1 o'clock division rivalry game between the Ravens and the Steelers, where the Ravens are 6-point favorites at home. If you're the Ravens, no more turnovers. I think they win that game and probably handedly last week if they don't have those 5 turnovers. They were moving the ball so well, and it was just turnover. So if you're the Ravens, no more turnovers this week because this Steelers defense, in my mind, if they don't get turnovers, they struggle. But there's some games this year where they force a lot of turnovers and look good doing it. And also, if you're Baltimore, your defense should have a better day against the Steelers. After 5 turnovers and facing a dynamic offense in the Bengals, they gave up 32. This Steelers' offense is not the same as the Bengals' offense. This defense should continue to improve and have a better day against the Steelers. Maybe even hold them below 20 points. Also, if you're Baltimore, be dominant. I think that they have lacked a real dominant game this year. Maybe week 2 against the Browns, week 3, whatever it was against the Browns. But I think this Ravens team can actually show up and dominate this game, especially at home. I think their defense and offense is good enough. They just haven't really put it together this season. But I don't think the Steelers team is 6-6 good. I think that they find a way to win games that they don't deserve to. I think if the Ravens don't turn the ball over, it could be a long day for Pittsburgh. So if you're the Ravens, be dominant. And if you're Pittsburgh, your defense needs to create turnovers. I think that's their only hope at stopping the Ravens offense successfully is by forcing turnovers, creating turnovers. They need to run the ball well, right? Like if the Steelers can't run it, I don't think their passing offense is going to beat the Ravens. I mean, yeah, the Ravens secondary isn't the best, but I don't think the Steelers passing game is the best either. And also, if you're the Steelers, dominate time of possession, keep that Ravens offense off the field because the more they're on the field, the more points they are going to score. I don't know if you can tell by the way I'm talking about it. I believe in the Ravens more than the Steelers just as a team this year from what I've seen. Unless the Steelers can force 3+ turnovers, I think the Ravens win this game and potentially even handedly, which is rare in this series. Finally, to the 4 o'clock slate, the Raiders hosting the Broncos, where the Broncos are 7.5-point road favorites. If you're the Raiders, their offense has looked brutal the last couple weeks. They need to find an offensive rhythm, an offensive identity. They need to find something to get this offense going. And can they continue to take care of the ball? The turnovers were really bad at the beginning of the year. They're starting to cut down on them a little bit. Can they continue to take care of the ball as a team? Maybe that'll help find them an offensive identity. And also, if you're the Raiders, can your defense replicate performance from the last time these teams played? Last time they played, Las Vegas's defense in Denver on Thursday Night Football played really, really well for Vegas against Denver. Can they replicate that performance and keep Denver low enough where the offense has a chance to win this game? That is a big question for me. If you're the Broncos, take away the tight end pass game. The Raiders love giving it to Bowers. He's probably their best weapon in the pass game. That they also have a second tight end and Michael Mayer. That's pretty freaking good too. The Raiders might have the best 1-2 combination at tight end. So if you're the Broncos, take away the tight end pass game. Don't let them go off. Also, if you're the Broncos, your offense should find a rhythm against a subpar defense. This Raiders defense has been up and down. Yes, they were good against the Broncos last time, but this offense to me for the Denver is so hot and cold. Now, when they're hot, they can put up a lot of points in a hurry, but I just want to see consistency from them. This is a great chance to find some consistency. Also, if you're Denver, force turnovers from an offense that'll give the ball away. This year, this offense has given the ball away on multiple occasions. Can the Broncos continue to force turnovers or, from this Raiders offense? Can they put them back in that place where they were turning it over a whole bunch? If they do, this could be blowout territory early, and I think the Broncos win this game, and it should be more handily than it was last time. Top 5 game of the week, arguably the best game of the week. Green Bay, 6.5-point home favorites against the Bears, and Green Bay being 6.5-point favorites at home against currently the number 1 seed in the NFC probably tells you Vegas feels the same way I do about the Bears. Let's get into it. If you're Green Bay, you should be able to move the ball well against this defense. It hasn't been great, especially against the pass. This Green Bay team can pass. Their receivers are getting healthy. I'm looking forward to seeing who wins that matchup, but I think Green Bay should be able to move the ball well. Can they string together back-to-back offensive performances? Green Bay's offense looked really, really good last week. I've been saying it all year. Sometimes Green Bay's offense is hot and cold. Sometimes it just disappears. They don't have too many good performances strung together in a row, in my opinion. This is an opportunity to start stringing them together and prove that they can be a consistently good offense. And what can the defense take away? Chicago has a top 5 run offense, top 5 pass offense. What can this defense take away? They've been really, really good against the run. I think that'll make things much more difficult on Chicago. And then can they just break even on the pass? And I think that's all they need to do for Green Bay to win. What can this defense take away from a good Chicago offense? And if you're Chicago's offense, continue to balanced approach because if again, when teams can be balanced and do both things well, it's so hard to stop, especially because they're usually staying ahead of the sticks, and then they're in situations where they can run it or pass it. It's not third and longs, right, where people know what you have to do. The Chicago offense needs to stay balanced this week. Defense needs to step up against a good team. And by that, I mean this defense has been incredible at forcing turnovers, and their offense is really, really good at not giving the ball away. That's part of the reason why they have the record they do. But when this defense isn't getting turnovers, I think they're bad. They give up a lot of yards. And again, when you're forcing turnovers, you have a much larger margin for error. You can give up all the yards in the world, but if you're forcing turnovers, it's okay. So I think I do want to see this defense have a game where they kind of take over it without turnovers. Like I want to see this defense against a good team win them the game, getting stops consistently, forcing punts and stuff. So I want to see if the Bears defense can step up this week. And if it does start to give up a lot of yards, can they force turnovers like they've done so well this year to kind of mask some of the weakness they have on defense? Who wins this game? I think it's a fun divisional battle. The winner of this game has the inside track to winning this division easy and potentially the 1 seed. Give me the Packers to win. I think they get it done at home, even though they've been inconsistent from game to game. I think the Packers have a good offense and a good defense. I'm still not sold on the Bears' defense yet. 4:00 game, Cardinals hosting the Rams in Arizona, but the Rams on the road are 7.5-point favorites coming off of an ugly loss for them. If you're the Cardinals, stress the pass defense. This Rams rush defense is pretty good. Pass defense not that great. Gave up 31 points last week. The Rams defense did. Now that was partially because of some turnovers. But if you're Arizona, stress the Rams passing defense, especially as the offense continues to get healthier. Get pressure on Stafford. Last week, Stafford had 2 interceptions and a fumble. If you're Arizona, maybe that's your key to winning, getting pressure on Stafford and trying to force mistakes. But those types of performances are few and far between for Stafford usually. So it's going to be difficult. But the Panthers found a way to win it last week doing that. And can you win a close game if it gets there? The Cardinals lose close game after close game after close game after close game. I don't think they're as bad as their record is. They're in pretty much every game they play. Can they win a close game if it gets there? Most of the time this year, the answer has been no. What will it be this time? If you're the Rams, you can't commit turnovers. They win that game against the Panthers if they just really, in my opinion, have one less turnover. They cannot do that from game to game, and I don't think they're the type of team that will. Also, if you're the Rams, defense needs to rebound. The 31 points, even with the turnovers, is not very good. They expect more from themselves. I think the Rams defense is better than giving up 31 to the Panthers. Can this Rams defense rebound? And don't let the Cardinals get momentum, right? This Cardinals team, I think, can sometimes be momentum merchants, but don't look at the records and say, oh, this Cardinals team's bad. We can sleepwalk through. No. This Cardinals team, I think, is good enough to upset you. And if you give them momentum, especially at home, keep them in the game early, and it's close late, I think Arizona gets the momentum and has a real chance to upset you. So if you're the Rams, you can't let the Cardinals get momentum. You have to take over this game early and continue to pour it on. And I think after the embarrassing performance last week, the Rams will be ready to do that. I actually think in a lot of scenarios this is a trap game, but it's hard to get in a trap game if you lose the week before to a team you should have beaten. So I think the Rams will avoid that and come out victorious here. And a win here for them and a Bears loss would put them back into the 1 seed as well. Sunday Night Football, top 5 game of the week. The Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites against the Texans. Such an important game in the AFC wildcard picture. For the Texans, they still have a real chance at winning their division as well. If the Chiefs lose this, they go to 6-7. 6-7, guys. And if the Texans win, they go to 8-5, right there in wildcard contention, right there in division contention. Very important game for both teams. Texans are obviously the much hotter team coming in. Let's get into it. If you're the Chiefs, get pressure on the Texans quarterback. The offensive line for the Texans offense in general, playing better as of late. Can they get pressure consistently, get them behind the sticks, make the Texans offense do what they don't want to have to do? This offense needs to find ways to score. This is going to be a very good Houston Texans defense, but the Chiefs offense has their receiving core is healthy, and when it's healthy, it's looked pretty good. Can Kansas City continue to find ways to score against a good defense? Also, if you're the Chiefs, you can't hurt yourself. Don't commit silly turnovers against a good defense. Don't commit silly penalties that force you to go backwards. Play smart, in control football. And if you're the Texans, your defense needs to continue to be dominant, because if it slips up a little bit, this offense for the Chiefs can take advantage. And this offense from the Chiefs in the pass game, I think, is getting better and better every week. Also, if you're the Texans, can you find offensive success, especially in the pass game? This Chiefs run game has been good. Our run defense has been good. The pass defense hasn't always been there. This Chiefs defense is still decent. And with the Texans' offensive struggles in some games, I would be concerned coming in. Can they find consistent success and attack the Chiefs at their weak points? And they can't kick field goals this week. They're going to need to score touchdowns or they're not going to win. I think this is a close game. I've been on the Texans most of the time. I'm going to switch over to the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs know the situation they're in. I think the Chiefs find a way to win this game at home. If it was on the road, I'd be a little bit worried. But I think the home field advantage gets the Chiefs the win here, if nothing else. And I trust their offense just a little bit more than the Texans. And finally, Monday Night Football, the Chargers hosting the Eagles, and another top 5 game of the week. The Eagles are 3-point favorites on the road. Let's get into it. If you're the Chargers, your line needs to protect Herbert. I know it's banged up. I know that it's been a rough year because of the injuries for the Chargers offensive line. They have to protect Herbert. He's already getting banged up. You need him healthy for the playoffs. And the Eagles, I think, are going to be able to rush the passer well. The Eagles have been able to. If you're the Chargers, you're going to have to protect Herbert this week, or it's going to be a long week. Run the ball well. Another good way to defend against a good pass rush, protect against a good pass rush, a good run game, and staying ahead of the sticks where they can't just pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. Run the ball well if you're the Chargers this week. I know there's been a couple teams that have been able to successfully do it against the Eagles, and it really hurts that Eagles defense when you can run the ball well. And if you're the Chargers, you need to be dominant defensively, especially on third down. This is a great third down defense for the Chargers, a good third down offense for the Eagles. Can the Chargers get off the field on third down and get it back to their offense? And if you're the Eagles, you need to win the red zone battles. That's a big key for them every week because they have been so good pretty much all year in the red zone. If they start losing the red zone battles, I think they're going to start struggling to score because they really, in yards per game, are not that good of an offense. They're just really, really good at taking advantage when they get down there. So if they start not taking advantage when they get down there, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep scoring a lot, win the red zone battles. Offense needs consistency. This offense has been up and down, and it doesn't know if it wants to run the ball or pass the ball. It doesn't know what it does well. This is a good Chargers defense. This offense needs to find some consistency against it. They need to stay ahead on schedule as well. And lastly, for the Eagles, your defense should live in that backfield of the Chargers. You can blow a lot of these plays up. They have a good defensive front in Philly. The Chargers offensive line is really, really banged up. You need to live in the backfield and create havoc, and that should be very beneficial to you getting stops and maybe some good field position for the Eagles. I think the Eagles will win this game on the strength of their defensive line alone. I expect them to have a great game. I think this game could be lower scoring than people may realize it or may think it will be with these two good teams. Give me the Eagles to win narrowly on the road using a good pass rush. That's all the games this week. My lock of the week hit again last week. My lock of the week this week is Seattle. I do not believe I've used them. I went back through my notes and I did not see them anywhere, so I'm going to use them as my lock of the week this week. I still only have one loss. Here you can see all of my picks summarized. Yeah, I wanted to make sure because there was one that I flipped on the Chiefs, but I already had it edited. So there you go. Summary of my picks as always, and with the Patriots, Giants, Panthers, and 49ers on bye. No more bye weeks after this week. There will be 16 games a week for the rest of the NFL season. Let me know your picks in the comment below and what you guys think about my picks this week. That's all I have today. Thank you for taking time out of your days, your weeks, and your lives for listening. Please, please, please like, comment, and subscribe on this video. It helps me so much as a creator. Let me know what you guys want to see. I'm thinking it's about time for an NHL or an NBA update or maybe some college basketball. Let me know in the comments below what you guys want to see. Some weather coming in, so everybody stay safe. No reason. It's getting cold outside. No reason to stay outside. Watch some sports this weekend. Some great NFL matchups. Also, college football, all the conference championship matchups. So plenty of reason to stay inside on a cold weekend and watch some great football and some great hockey, college basketball, NBA, all kinds of stuff. Please, please, please take care of yourself. Take care of your friends. Take care of your family. Peace out, everybody.